Hi everyone, I'm Michael and this is Back Alley Bonsai. Today I'm going to be working on these 3 apple seedlings. These 3 apple seedlings are ones that I started up last year. I got these out of an apple that I was eating and just got really lucky. There's actually a 4th one that I've already repotted. These have been in here for a full year. The soil is starting to get a little bit gunky. And so I want to get them out of their pots, take a look at their roots and see what is going on with them and get some fresh soil started on each of these 3 trees. I'm going to get started with this one that I'm growing in this orchid pot. This is kind of an experiment to see what kind of root system I get out of this. Hopefully, if this is like the other ones, I will have a really fibrous set of roots in here to work with. I'm seeing a fair amount of algae in here, which isn't great. Definitely means that it's plenty of water and fertilizer though. So, not a terrible sign, but definitely is a good indicator that I need to change the soil. But I am kind of seeing what I wanted, which is a lot of very fibrous roots growing in here. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really good. So overall, that was really successful. I've got a really fibrous mass of roots in here. I've got some really thick ones that I probably want to cut back. That's looking really nice. Let's look at a little bit of the sphagnum moss that I originally rooted this in here. Not a bunch. A couple of roots in here that are sort of circling. See if I can straighten those out. Don't really know which way they're going though. There we go. Oof. There we go. I've got this root right here, which is growing somewhere and making some pretty nutty twists. So I want to kind of figure out where it's going. It might be better off just to take it off because it looks like it's actually twisting itself into a knot. Yeah. Might be able to cut it back a bit. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. It's twisting back on itself into a crazy knot. So I'm actually just going to take that off because I don't need anything quite that crazy. Yeah, pretty big chunk of root came away with that. I think this tree will be okay though. Clip away at some of these higher roots so I can get it more down to its root base. Wasn't really the plan, but and having some of these roots grow in this circular pattern isn't the end of the world. It's really just kind of a question of when I repot them, stretching them back out into a better position. I want to get a better look at this root though, so I'm going to go rinse this off really quick. Alright, I don't often do a full bare rooting. I don't usually find them to be too necessary, but yeah, again, in the case of this one root, it's just comes out of the plant and then twists around some of these other roots. It's really just not healthy. If anything, it will probably actually start to strangle some of these other roots, which is obviously bad. So I'm just going to remove as much of it as I need to. You can just see how twisted all these roots have gotten into each other, which is not great. It's unfortunate. The next really problematic root is this big thick one, which is growing basically straight down. I'm going to take it off right there. Another couple of roots growing out of it, and hopefully we can get some more action out of that. Shorten some of these up. All right. One really long root on it. Not too bad though on the other roots. I think I can get a pretty good little spread going. I'll just bury it nice and deep in its next pot, and we'll see what happens with it in the future. I'm just going to move this into this nice little terracotta pot for now. Nothing fancy about it. Just put a drainage screen in there. We'll just park the tree in there for the next year or so. Get it nice and deep. Lots of opportunity for these roots to grow out again. Now this big root just refuses to be repositioned. There we go. I'll try to get as many of these buried in my substrate as I can. Next up, I'm going to work on this one, which I've had in this bonsai pot. And its roots are also looking pretty good. It's got some really thick, gnarly ones growing out of the surface there, you can see. So I'm pretty happy with that. Got a really crazy base on it. You know, some people might consider that to be a fault or not attractive. I actually really like it. As long as it isn't strangling or girdling too badly, I may leave a lot of that. We'll see. We'll get the roots raked out, and we'll take a look at them. Got a lot of, again, really healthy roots growing out of the bottom of this. Wow, it's got a ton of roots on this one. That's really impressive. But they are, again, pretty badly tangled up in here. I'm not surprised to see that this one has more aggressive roots. It had better overall foliage growth, and those are always related. Roots come in after the foliage. Boy, there's a lot of folded roots are just folded back on themselves over and over and over again. This is the taproot, and snaking back. It actually snakes under. It snakes under itself right there. It is a bit of a mess. Despite me saying I like it, it may need to be adjusted. Or the one that's snaking over it. Or the one that's snaking over here might need to come off. Let's see. So I'm going to start with this one here that's long and snaking back on itself over and over and over again. I don't really need that. Find the place where it folds first. And actually, it's really far down. It starts way back over. That actually is the taproot. Yeah, so it comes under, folds all the way back over on itself, and then returns. So yeah, that is a problem. I'm going to take it off right there. I'm going to take it off right there. And regrow as much of that as I can. Look how long this thing is. This is crazy. Like, it is. That is a taproot. And that kind of leaves us with that, which actually isn't too bad. I'm still going to get rid of this girdling root. It's going over the taproot. Take that off completely. Cut this back just a little further. So right there. And then this little root here. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this framed up and doing a terrible job of it. And we're at a very long root here, which I don't really need. And got quite a few roots that are basically growing straight down, which I don't really want either. Okay. And for this one, I'm just going to put it back into its original pot. I think it's about the right size for the tree and for the trunk size that it's got. So I'm going to continue to grow that out that way. And I may upsize it next year, I think, but for right now, this is the right size pot. Tree's a little heavy towards the one side. I'm not sure which side I consider to be the front. Like, I want to show off all these cool roots, but there's only so much you can do at this stage. Alright, that's pretty stable in the pot now. And last but not least, I have this one in this bonsai training pot. I've got this volunteer tomato plant I may try and save. See if I'm going to try and save it. I may succeed. Let's see how lucky I get. All right. There we go. Come here, little tomato. See if I can get that one to go. I'm going to remove some of my twine here. Wow. Good roots on the bottom. Really way more root than I need anyway. Under the best of circumstances, I'll just start off by clipping all of that away. The roots also look really good. They are also a little twisty-turny. Yeah, I think this is probably the taproot coming down and then doing this little spirally number on itself, which is not great. And that is always a problem on any sort of tree with a taproot, is that they will just grow and grow and grow and not always do things that are great for them. So I'm just trying to figure out where exactly it folds on itself. Start right there. How much do I get? Oh boy. And there goes pretty much the entire root mass. Oof. At the very least, it loosened up. It didn't all go, but oof. Yeah. But again, you can see, look, you just see it just like folding back on itself over and over and over again. Which is not really ideal. It'll eventually choke itself out. And this is the other major root. And it's doing kind of the same thing. It's just growing in a super crazy, squirrely way. Now, I don't really want these roots, but they are going to be problematic later. But I don't want to take off everything. And yet, I kind of have. Yeah, there's really not any point in keeping most of this. Well, that's disappointing. Once again, though, I'm going to put it back into its original pot. I'm going to bury it nice and deep, really stable. Hopefully we'll get some more roots growing out of these top 2 points. And then I can start kind of clipping back this ugly burl of roots down here. Yeah. That didn't really make any difference. Something about working on these, sometimes you get really precious about keeping something and then you realize that it really wasn't doing anything. Like what root mass I have is not attached to that point. All right. Mostly I just want to make sure this thing is reasonably stable in the pot. I don't really have much in the way of roots to come out or anything. And then lastly is the tomato. Well, there you go, everybody. That is the January repotting of my apple tree bonsai. I almost didn't do it this year. I thought maybe I would let them grow for another season. Considering the way the roots looked on all these trees, I'm really glad that I did. Thanks as always for joining me here in Back Alley Bonsai. If you enjoy this, please hit the thumbs up button. Share it with your friends. Feel free to subscribe. Leave comments down below. Happy to answer any questions you may have about these trees. And as always, have yourselves a wonderful day.